XTool Studio, everybody knows it. Who's got XTool? You've got two platforms, the new one and the old one, and we're going to focus on the new one. And there is one tip that you could do after you install the software, and that is put the run command to maximum size, which means every time you open the application, it will, open max size. So what we're going to do is open the application. And here you will see that you're on the home landing page, and you've got a couple of things that you will have to do when you obviously just configure it, and that is make sure that your account is logged in. So we are logged in. Just follow the procedure, it's very easy. And then once you're logged in, you can start new projects. So for this screencasting, we'll be creating a project and walking through the flow of the XTool Studio. So on the side, you can see that you've got a couple of tabs, and the second space is a MySpace. And this is where you can create all of your SVGs, files, whatever. You can save them there, and these can be used over the cloud, which means that you can use them on the mobile devices like Android or iOS running XTool Studio if your laser is supported. The N2 currently has a couple of bugs, but anyway, to leave that aside, we're going to focus on this application. This Atomm projects is where you can find all of the projects to download or rate. So I'll just click on this one, for example, and you get a bunch of information about the file, which modules are used and which tool is used with which settings, with which materials. If you haven't got any of the materials, then here is the section where you can purchase them. And then for the rest, you've got the information, the license, and some general steps if they put it in here. And then at the bottom, you will see some reviews. Very cool. If there is a problem with the design, you've also got an option where you can report. So here in the right-hand corner, you can report something. I haven't got any experience with that yet, but you should be able to report the design or the person uploading the design. You've also got a follow button and the obvious share, like, bookmark and comment buttons. This is all connected to your profile. So when you want to start with XTools, you would want to make a new tab. Once you make the new tab, it is very wise to save the project if it's something that's going to be reoccurring. So when you just start up the software for the first time, you will not see this screen. You will first have to connect your device. So we've already done that. But if your device is grayed out, says not ready, but it is connected and it's hooked up to the Wi-Fi, you can just click on this symbol and then click on these 3 arrows, and then it will connect or reconnect in that case. If it does not, then you've maybe got a pairing issue and you would have to redo the pairing. Also done very easily. You can just disconnect it and do the connection procedure. So we've got switched off the automatic mode just for the explanation purposes, but if you press auto mode, it will measure and take a picture for you, not in that follow. It will take a picture for you and then measure. So you can skip that step, but for this tutorial, we want to explain the functions. So this is a measurement function, and on the mobile app, it is not possible to measure something if there is no picture taken. Often the times with the XTool, it will automatically take like a picture when you close the lid, but if you want to take a new picture, you just press the photo icon and it will create a new picture for you. You can create a zoomed in picture, which just zooms in the area for you like this. See what it does. Yeah. So this is handy if you're working with a small area. And then you have here a close-up stitching tool. We will not cover that in this tutorial, but for the case of the picture and the tutorial, we'll do a full view picture and we will measure the surface and we'll put it here because this is where we're going to be creating our first element. Now, once that is done, this side technically on the bottom has been configured. And what you want to do now is configure the module that you've got, unless it's already pre-configured. And the material, we're using 3mm brass wood, and the settings are already saved and applied to it. Now, it's a good time to save your file. So in this case, I want to save it locally. And we'll just save it for here. Now, on the side, if you haven't got this menu, you can always open it so that you can read what is on the side. We'll start with the top. This is just the normal menu button. Here you can do your options. Save, obviously, click to upload the cloud, project notes, so you can add extra notes to whatever you're making. You've got the import function. This allows you to import SVGs or different other elements. We've got a text element. With this you can type text and you can edit the text. Up here you have the options of the fonts, as you can see. And you have the extra styles that you can do. You've also got different other options, but we'll leave that for the next time. So in this case, we don't want the text. Oh, by the way, we do want it because we want to edit. You can just double click, remove, add, and it's all good. So when you want to deselect something, you click in the working field, and then you can just delete the object. You've got another way of doing it, but for the simple way, it's like this. The same goes for the rectangles. You've got lines, all this kind of stuff that you can make. We've got templates, so these are predefined templates that are be made by XTool. We've got projects, these are user made and XTool made. Then we've got the applications, this is basically generation. Some is AI, some is user made. So if you would want to make, for example, a box, you can click on it and you can do different settings. Customize it however you want. You select the materials, put the material thickness and offset. Very important, before you start anything, doing a Kerf offset test on your materials to check which is the best closing mechanisms, because these designs exist out of teeth that go into each other, or a design that connects into each other. And if the offset is not correct, then it will either not fit or fit very loosely and you have to glue it. When you see this overview, you've got 1 free export a day. Otherwise, it costs credits. Credits you can get if you connect your profile to the maker's profile, and then you can start to earn credits. Making design, making uploads, and posting them. So if you look on the flat layout, you will be able to see how the SVG file looks like, well, once it's been cut out. And yeah, you can edit a little bit easier. You've got the millimeters and the inches, and yeah, basically that's it. So once you selected your design, you can export it and import it into your workspace. So for this test file, what we're going to be doing is using something from our own space. This is just an SVG, but I've got it here by hand, and it's very easy to do. So it's not traditional where you click and drag. You just click on it and it imports it. And once you've done that, the easiest thing to do is to go to your canvas. In your canvas, you can select different canvases. So say, for example, I want to only have one thing printed on one canvas and the other thing printed on the other canvas. I can just open it up, make a new canvas, put it in there, select the second time that I'm gonna do it to put it on the second canvas. So on this canvas, this will not be lasered. So everything in here will be lasered in this canvas, in this step when you press process. And when you go to the next one, that will be done. In layers, you can see which layers you've got. Now, I just quickly ungrouped these two, but for the tutorial purpose, if you right-click 2 elements, you can group them, or you can make them into a compound vector. Now, we'll treat this later on, but to group 2 elements now, you can do this, and then once you click it, you pick it up as a group. So if you've done all of your nice alignments, or you've got custom elements in there, then this is the way to go. You can close your group, you can open your group, you can switch off elements, you can lock elements, just like in any other vector or processing software. The only problem is once you don't want this line, for example, and you would say switch it off and I'm going to lock it, it's only in the app. So once it goes to processing, it will still process this. I don't know if it's a feature or if it's a bug, but keep that in mind. So in our case, what we want is both images on this canvas. So I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to reintroduce the element to my canvas. I'm going to turn it around. That's what this icon is for. And I'm going to put it here. Now, as you can see, it doesn't fit. And this is where the second most important thing is going to come to. Either you can play around with how it's going to fit on the wood, or you're going to scale. When you go on scale, you've got multiple options. So let's get things down to the basics. In the software, there are multiple ways to move around. When you scroll up and down. But when I press Shift, I scroll to the side. When I press Control, I zoom in and out. So there are multiple ways to quickly and efficiently work. You can also use the middle mouse button, and that will allow you to pan view on the X and Y axis. So for example, now this will not fit. So we are going to have a look in the layer, and we can see that all of this is in the layer. And we're going to ungroup it. You can also use the short bindings, but in my case, I'm just doing it like this. Pull this down slightly and pull this up also slightly. As you can see, it will just fit. So what you need to keep in mind is process area. The stronger the laser during the cut, the more reflection it will have, especially if it's elevated like this. So what you want to do, you want to cut it slightly less power and slightly slower speed. So last time I had a little bit of an issue with the lines still being connected. So in this case, we're going to run it at speed 4. And you can always check with a click set what you want, but out of experience, this is what to do. Now, once you've done that, we've got these multiple lines, and I've split them up into layers, as you can see. And if you click the layer, you will select all of the elements that are in that layer. So for this case, it's the circle and the compound vector. If I go to 16, I can see that it's the outer circle. So what we'll want is, we'll want this path to be cut out instead of engraved, like this one. Oh, selected it wrong, sorry. This one, you can put it on engrave because it's a compound vector. It will only engrave inside the compound vector. And if you release the compound vector, it will become like the blue engravement area. But in this case, we want to cut it out of the material, and we want to stick this later on this other side. So as you can see, I have processed first the inner circle with an engravement, and my settings are 84% power and 200% speed. You can also play around with the speed, but for in this case, I want it a little bit shiny. So the 200 speed is good. If you put it slower, it becomes a little bit darker, like a more burnish color. The black circle that's around it is a cut, and the cut is going to cut out the circle after engraving. You may think, how does that work after engraving? Because I put it in the layer before. So if you look here, you can see all of the layers. And basically, I can put it in layer 2 if you want to see it a little bit better. And that means that it will first do the engraving, and then it will do the cutting. This cutting will be done also in layer 2. But the black one will be done when everything is being processed. So it's the last item. Once you've done that, basically you can do preview. If you press preview, you will see what is going to happen, if the settings are correct or not. And you can see what is going to happen. So this cutout is scrap, the first one, and the second one, this one, is going to be glued on top of the etched board as a logo banister. So once you're happy with the oh, here is also something you can switch through the layers, so you can see the actual printing order. Quickly skip through it. Oh, apparently not. Once you've got everything dialed in, then basically you can send it to the printer. You can also press framing, which if you're at the printer, will show you with the laser where it's going to cut out. So as I was talking about, this distance is very small and you could cut into each other. Now the reason why I've put the speed and the power a little bit lower is so that it cuts, but it doesn't cut it that it falls down to the bottom, because it's hard to catch. This one you could catch with a little element underneath, so you just put a little bit of wood underneath, and then once it's lasered it will catch it. And the problem that you're trying to solve is that if one element gets cut and it falls down underneath the laser path of the next element, it will destroy your cutout. So in this case we've done that, and we're pretty happy with the design. We've all got it saved, and we want to add this because I've already tested it, so it lasers. We want to add this to our space. So you can export it as an SVG and use it in other stuff, or you can save it to your space. So when you save it to your space, that also means that all of the settings will be synced. Not the material settings, but for sure your cutting settings and your layer settings. So if we were to open a new file for a joke, take a picture, add in the elements via the MySpace, put it there. Obviously slightly smaller now. That's what you also have to keep in mind when doing this. To double check always all of the sizes. So make sure the width is the actual width. And you can see here that it's taken the settings that I've done. So don't save it too early, do it once you've done testing, then you can save your elements, and it should be good to go. I have noticed that a small app problem. When you do that and you load them in the Android app, there is still, there is no option to view your layers, and there is also no option to put individual elements in a different path. So for example, if you would want to cut this thing out and the laser doesn't orientate that the elements on the inside have to be cut out before the rest, you would naturally select them. So in that case, release the compound vector, but that's not going to work for this logo. And then you can select all of the inside elements that you want cut out first and put them in a layer before. So I've got, I think, a quick example for that. We'll open a new tab for you guys, just to make this make sense of it. And as you can see on this one, you want them squares cut out before that the main square is cut out. So you go and convert these to the path, ungroup it, and then I can select these squares and I can put them in layer 1. And then I can put the layer 1, just click layer 1, it'll select all of them and put them on a cut, yeah. And then it should be cut before that it starts the outline. So in this case, it's going to engrave first and then it's going to cut everything. So I want these little squares cut out before it cuts the square out, because otherwise it's going to cut the square out and then it's going to fall to the base plate or the cutting plate, and then there it's going to try and cut the squares out. And if you're unlucky, it doesn't fall down straight. So that's the problem that you can solve with layering and with splitting the compound vector. Obviously, if you save this now, it's going to be saved into your file, so I didn't do too much of a good job of that, but that's the advantage that you can do. Discard. So in the this sense, we want to process the design, so we're going to press print. Got it. It's going to give you here some important warnings, so read them. If you haven't done the tutorials, do the tutorials, and it's going to give you estimated time and the module that you're going to be using. On the dots, you can still configure the framing. We'll do a separate video on that. And here you still have what you can see, just like with a 3D printer, for example, you can see the path of the head. So you would be able to press it and see what it does. Pretty cool function. But what we're going to do is start. Once you've done that, you will have to manually press ready on the printer. So I will quickly run down and press the button. My printer is not located inside, so I have to walk outside. And now I've pressed the button. And we should be able to continue the tutorial. Once you've done that, it says processing, and you will be able to enable monitoring. Once you've enabled monitoring, you can see what the laser is doing. And as you can see, it's etching first, and then it's going to cut everything out. So that was a small tutorial. I hope it was informative, and see you guys next time. One small thing is the job as a task list. So when you just did what I just did, you can still see your processing job, and once you click on it, you can go back. So yeah, see you guys next time.